for another one. And someone was lurking in the two-man queues, so we're gonna... Alright, it's Ilskin. Ah, this guy's great. He's part of the regular classic community. I'm pleased to be playing against him. He oftentimes plays some creative combo decks, so this will be a fun match, I think. It's unlikely that he'll be playing something like standard, traditional. I guess that's the way to put it. Hopefully he's there. I mean, oftentimes these queues they take a long time to fire, so it's possible that he joined the queue and was just waiting, and he's chilling doing something else. For that reason, I'm going to explain real quick why I decided to keep this hand, which I think is pretty good. I think the Pithing Needle is pretty versatile. We have a first turn mana drain on the play, or alternatively we could drop a Hammer Mage, but I don't know what he's playing, so I'm not sure how valuable this is. Hammer Mage is one of those cards that's either insane, or it's a 1/1 for 2. So, that could be good, but we have a Jace to eventually follow it up, which is good in pretty much any matchup. So I will see you guys when our buddy Ilskin comes back. And he's back. He says, "Hi, man." Hi, Ilskin. Yeah. I'm kind of excited. I always like seeing someone from the classic community in the two-man queues. I think it's fun because playing in the two-man queues raises the stakes just enough over the tournament practice room. And I kind of like that. I'm going to play this first, so he doesn't know what land I'm playing if he wants to counter it. But he didn't, which is good. So this is my favorite basic island art, obviously, because it looks like a giant nipple. No, actually, it's just, I love white border. All right, so we got another library deck. He's going to be able to draw a card from that. We're going to pith that thing. So hopefully... I mean, it's too bad, because this basically means that we're trading one card for... I don't know what you'd say. We're trading one card for something that like doesn't even count as a card. I should have waited till main phase B to play this. See if it resolves. The reason is because if I have to mana drain something, then it'll add mana during my turn later. All that I'm going to do is name library to keep his library from drawing him cards. And I guess my point is that he already gets to replace this with the card he draws right now. And it's still a land that adds colorless. So we lose on the deal, but without Pithing Needling this, it's essentially like almost a Jace just sitting out there. So the question is, are we going to counter this? I kind of want to keep our Jace protected. So I'm actually going to let this resolve. And I'm going to pass the turn. What I'm hoping later on, even though he's going to still be able to draw another card off the library, is that him spending the counterspell and Brainstorm will be advantageous for us. My suspicion is that the Hammer Mage is not going to be very good, but it might be able to push some damage through, or we can Brainstorm it back on top of our deck. We're not going to be able to defend our Jace with the mana drain, but if we draw a force, we can pitch the mana drain and protect the Jace. Oh, and there's something we get to kill with the Hammer Mage, so I'm actually completely comfortable with that. We have a Demonic Tutor. He's got one colorless left. My suspicion is he's playing some kind of Oath variant, and he's either going to look for a counterspell or a Tinker here. I'm strongly considering mana draining the Demonic Tutor, though. I lose the Petal, and then on our turn we have 5 mana, which is Jace plus 1, which isn't very good, because we can't play the Hammer Mage at the same time. I think I'm going to let this happen and play the control route. So he could be finding counter backup to protect his combo, or protect his Tinker. I'm willing to take that risk right now. That could be a mistake. I'm not sure. And so we don't know what he's looking for, but my guess is that it's going to be a Tinker. And he's going to try to make that Soul Ring go away. What this means, though, is that we have a couple of options. We can try to cast Jace, because Jace can definitely bounce a Blightsteel Colossus, which would be the most likely Tinker target. If the Jace gets countered, it means our mana drain would probably get countered anyway, because it would mean he has a Force of Will. So what I'm tempted to do... Okay, now we have another mana drain. what I'm tempted to do is to try to force through the Jace and hope that he demonic tutored for a Tinker, because that seems like the most likely card to look for here. Now I'm presented with the option of playing the Hammer Mage and then just keeping a mana drain up. And that's also attractive to me. And then if I do get a chance to mana drain it, it'll mean that I can cast the Jace, and if I draw another land... I don't know, the Hammer Mage isn't very good right now, even though it kills the Soul Ring. Hammer Mage would definitely force his hand as far as Tinker goes, though. The Hammer Mage, because then I could kill the Soul Ring and keep him from tinkering. So I strongly think he has Tinker, and he might look for something other... Like, the one reason that I'm hesitant to play the Jace right now is that he could tinker out something else. He could tinker out Voltaic Key or a Time Vault, and then just play the other piece of that combo, in which case I'd want the mana drain and the Jace wouldn't do anything. So that's my thought here. And that might not be right, but we're going to play the Hammer Mage. And again, I should have waited till main phase B to cast this, so I don't add mana to my mana pool for main phase B with a mana drain. That's an error that I'm glad I'm making now in these test games, rather than in a DE at some other point. So this guy's wearing a party hat, and he's got clown pants on, because it's hammer time. I guess they're parachute pants. That's really what's going on here. Maybe he's just going to play an Oath. That's a possibility. Jace is good through Oath, too. What's going to happen here? Oath. Okay. We are going to counter this. And if that lands, we still have a chance to find a land and play Jace, which would be okay. This library is essentially off for now. I guess he could draw some cards and make it good again, but I don't think so. Wow, that's an interesting option, actually. So I think the best thing to do, though, right now is to... we're not going to be using this red. Well, actually, we might. It would be possible that we'd want to use that red. So I think what I want to do here is brainstorm. And unfortunately, we did not find everything we were looking for. And the question is, do we want to kill the Soul Ring or keep up counter back up here? Because we could play the Lotus Petal and then use the Hammer Mage for 1 and kill his Soul Ring. But to do that, we have to discard another card, and that's going to be either like the Skull Clamp or the Explosives or part of a counter package. And like, I really think the smartest thing to do right here is to... I don't know, actually. The Skull Clamp doesn't do much on the field right now just because I want to kill the Soul Ring, I think. So maybe the best thing to do is to put the Skull Clamp down and the Explosives down. Yeah, and then I'll play the Lotus Petal. And then that allows me to keep up mana drain. And that'll be my plan. I'm not going to use either of the cards in my hand to kill a Soul Ring. So I'll get through for 1. I feel comfortable with this Jace now on the board. And having a mana drain or force backup. So, I imagine he'd look for this Oath with Demonic Tutor. This means if we can get a Graph Digger's Cage out, we'll be in good shape. This Hammer Mage, he might even board out his Artifact combo since he knows we're running these, because he doesn't want to make our otherwise shitty cards worth something. But I think it leaves me in an okay position, frankly. I am going to kill the Soul Ring here, without a doubt. Maybe he's going to do something during my upkeep. That's possible. What would he do? We actually could stand to draw some land. I kind of wanted to hit a land rather than a Lotus Petal with Jace. That's okay. So we drew our Explosives, of course. I'm going to brainstorm. He doesn't have red, so he's not going to be able to kill Jace. I'm excited about Theros because there'll be that new card that's murder plus. Yeah, we don't want this. Um, murder plus. What is it? Murder plus. It's Why can't I think of what it's called? It's murder plus Dreadbore almost. So I kind of am inclined to pitch this island, even though I was just talking about how I needed land, because I think I'll be equipping Skull Clamp to a couple things on top of my deck here in a minute. Um, and I'm going to do this right now. Yep. Okay. Then we'll pass the turn. I'm not going to play the Clamp now because I want to keep mana drain up. I feel like killing that Soul Ring is in our best interest. It keeps him from being able to tinker easily, and just not having that much mana is beneficial. He can hard cast a Force Will now, notably. Something to keep in mind. And I think we want to attack before we Jace. Probably doesn't matter that much. Now this keeps him off channel for the most part. I guess he'd have to, he could tap some of his lands, so it doesn't fully keep him off. But that's okay. We're going to draw, and we're definitely going to put down a land this turn. I still don't necessarily want this Engineered Explosives. It's not the best, this matchup. I guess it can kill an Oath, but this Caracas is insane right now, and it'll be something he has to deal with. So I'm going to put this on top, and then the Delta. In here, I think the right play is definitely to drop a Skull Clamp, play Caracas, and then we're just equipping this guy to draw those cards. Which I think is probably right. And then we keep mana drain up. Okay. So, yeah, we draw a Cavern. That's actually really awesome. That's probably going to name Titan. I don't think we know what's on top of our deck now. So we're gonna do this, and then we're going to Polluted Delta probably. He can eventually get back up to 7 and start using Library to eke out an advantage over Jace again. I mean, it doesn't really eke out an advantage over Jace. Jace brainstorms and Library just draws a card. This is pretty good. We're going to keep one of these brainstorms. We're going to pitch the other one. And I want to keep a lot of these lands, actually. So we're going to play... Yeah, I think we're actually going to... We're going to not play a brainstorm first. That would be idiotic. We're going to play the Delta. We're going to find another basic. And now we're going to brainstorm. We found a Cage, which seems pretty strong in this matchup. So I'm going to put the... We already played a land. So I'm going to put Cavern down. And then Explosives. And we are going to drop the Cavern after combat. I'm sorry, drop the Cage, not the Cavern. And I think then we go ahead and pass the turn. I don't know if I optimized that turn, but I feel pretty comfortable right now. Okay, and he doesn't do anything, which is fine. Draw a card for the turn. We don't know what we're going to get yet. Explosives, that's fine. We could start trying to Jace him out at this point. That's not the most exciting, and I think brainstorming is just going to give us more and more of an advantage. So I'm going to brainstorm, and we have a shuffle effect in the Trinket Mage if we want it. We don't want all those, but I think we want maybe one of the Caverns. I think that makes sense. We don't need this brainstorm. This will name Wizard. And so we'll use this as a shuffle effect. What will we find with it? I think we find our second explosives. That seems pretty safe. We could also find a Soul Ring, but I just don't think it's very good. This doesn't do anything immediately, but I don't know. It seems okay to me. Then we equip when we go to town pretty soon. The one thing I like about playing a Skull Clamp in some of these non-controlish decks, I think I'm okay with that. That's okay. Means he couldn't use it on the Grafdigger's Cage. The one thing I like about it is that it gives you something to do with your crappy Hammer Mages. It also makes Trinket Mages and Magi the Moon capable of trading with Lodestone Golem, and it just increases the effectiveness of your creature damage in general. So I think those are a lot of good features. This gives us reason to brainstorm again, I think. We'll get in there. This can look for a Soul Ring, I guess, or a Mana Crypt, but neither of those is very exciting. It's mainly a shuffle effect. And I think if we can land that Magus, I think we're probably in good shape to win this game. I'm going to make sure I have one of these Tarns in my hand before we do that. Hammer Mage just got so much worse. So I'm going to play the Scalding Tarn. And we're going to shuffle. And I'm going to look for just a basic island, because this Magus the Moon is going to resolve. And this seems fine to me, tapping that way. And I think we are in a very good position now. Eventually we're going to see a Frost Titan too. Okay, so he concedes that game. Based presumably on the Mana Screw. Now what do we want to board in? If he's going to keep the deck roughly as it is, we want to bring the Grafdigger's Cage. We definitely want to cut our other Shackles, because it's just bad against Oath. We want to bring in the Red Blast, I think, and probably all four of those extra counter spells. The Sower is another card to strongly consider. So what's bad in this deck? Explosives is okay. It's not optimal. Hammer Mage is pretty terrible, so we're getting rid of it. And then we need to pay attention to some of these other cards. Red Blast is essentially a counterspell here for the most part. Skull Clamp is an essential, even though he just killed it, and Pithing Needle is kind of mediocre too. So I'm willing to board out a couple of these. The Trinket Mages are going to probably be finding Grafdiggers or Engineered Explosives no matter what anyway, and I might even cut one of the other explosives. Lotus Petal is also not extraordinary in this matchup. It's mainly in there for the workshop matchups where, I think I said this in the last video, where you have to force stuff through spheres. It's also not very good on the draw comparatively, but it does make mana drain a little bit better. So I'm willing to at least cut one and maybe the other as well. Frost Titan is pretty good, especially if he has a show and tell plan. But I'm looking for a final card to cut, and I'm not entirely confident in it. I recently added a Red Blast instead of a second Sower, I think. I'm not entirely sure about what it looked like before. But I definitely want these in. I think I want the Missteps in too, to counter Tutors and Brainstorms. He might bring in Abrupt Decays, which I don't really have an easy way to deal with. I could put Misdirections in the sideboard. Alternatively, you can play those in the main. Or I could also put Apostle's Blessing. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure how much I want to be reactive in these matchups. Sower still seems okay here. So what are we going to cut? I think we cut another Lotus Petal. That's what I think the right play is. And our logo just went away for some reason, because Moto. So he's deciding to keep. I'll unpause in a moment. Alright, we're back. He decided to mulligan once, and then pass the buck to us. This hand is not ideal because we don't have a force, but given that he mulled, and that we're on the play, I think it's okay that we can't interact with him early. We can, in theory, still kill an Oath with this Engineered Explosives, which means on turn 2 we can drop it just to protect ourselves against an Oath, and we'll be able to back it up with a Soul Ring to blow it up. Also, the Soul Ring means we can a little bit more quickly ramp into a Frost Titan, which is sort of a bizarre thing to say in Classic, but oh, him mulling to 5 is that gives us a significant enough advantage that I feel more comfortable, even though we can't interact really. It's possible he mulled into a hand that can do something very quickly. Maybe he could channel Emrakul on the first turn. But it's also possible, it's less likely that he mulled into that hand that he drew it originally. So I'm feeling okay now. I'm actually going to lead off with a Volcanic Isle because if he wants to Wasteland, I think I want him to do that, given that he mulled so low. And he has to take that chance, I think, just because if he doesn't, I think there's basically a good shot that I will just win, given that I didn't mull, and he has to hope that I'm going to be mana screwed. That's my theory, anyway. Now, we can counter something with Red Blast, but we can't do anything after that. This makes me want to wait a little bit longer to play the explosives, so I can back it up and protect it. I'm okay with that. The Scalding Karn can find a basic mountain which the Polluted Delta can't, and because I think I want to look for a Volcanic Isle next, I didn't make that decision. I will crack this now, though, so I don't draw, or so I'm less likely to draw a Volcanic Island. Okay, good. Drawing an island there is okay. We need to play this, and then I'm going to drop an Explosives for 2, so we can sit and defend against an Oath. And if he counters this, it means he's probably planning to land an Oath, in which case we Red Blast the counterspell. Okay, so he loses a Brainstorm. I might have actually been willing to counter the Brainstorm with the Red Blast. So I will counter this. We have to think about what could happen here. One thing that could happen is that... did I actually click on it? Yes. He could play a Jace, for instance. And then I wouldn't have the Red Blast to kill the Jace. Ooh. Nice. So he won that counter war. I was going to say, but next turn I can play a Frost Titan and force him to bounce it with Jace, which also occupies 2 of his mana because of the Ice Shield ability, as it were. This is going to feel pretty good, though. Probably is pretty nerve-wracking when you see someone in Classic named Giant with their Cavern. Do we want him out of black or blue? I think it's more likely that he's going to instant speed tap the black to find, to use like a Vampiric Tutor. That's why I tapped down the blue-green. Now, what happens if he drops an Oath here? I think I'm okay because Frost Titan can push through Oathed creatures pretty easily. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to have counter magic to protect ourselves here, even though we basically are just sitting on lands, which isn't very exciting. Now we have another counter spell, which is great. So he's got... I no longer care about Channel, so now we cut him out of black. And let's hope he doesn't, oh, that's gonna hurt. God, that makes Frost Titans suck. What do we do about this? So, we have to draw into, something pretty good. We have to draw into the Royal. Sower would work. That doesn't work at all. We could also bounce our Frost Titan to try and... If we can't do that with Karakas, obviously. But if we could bounce it to have Oath trigger for us. I wonder if that's his only creature in the deck. Because there are a lot of cards we don't want to draw right now. Let's load up our list. What don't we want to draw? We don't really want to draw red blasts or counter spells right now. We want to draw an Into the Royal, a Jace. Another Frost Titan would buy us a turn. Grafdigger's Cage is probably too late. Shackles, I think we cut those because they suck. We want to draw our Sower. So we really want to draw our Sower, or that's about it. I like this game. Classic is really fun because hitting a Blazing Archon there is kind of awesome. I'm trying to think about Shackles as a way to deal with this because we don't have very many answers to Archon, which means in the future, making sure an Oath doesn't resolve should be a priority over landing a Frost Titan. And I got a little greedy playing this. I did not think he was going to go the Blazing Archon route, but it turned out this was an extremely strong plan against me because of Frost Titan. So that's a good move on his part. I played the Caracas here because show and tell. Well, yeah, if he showed and told, I would have just dropped the Caracas with it. So maybe I should have held the Caracas in hand. That might have been ideal. I don't have a Venser in this deck. Venser is a card I like. Nor do I have Vendilion Clicks. There's just not room when you're going the Magus plan, as it were. But Caracas is still good enough against most Oath plans. So, I will pause until he returns. Alright, and he's back. He just lost connection to the game for a little bit. Okay, hopefully it didn't just happen again. Yeah. Not where I am. Comcast. So this game, as I mentioned before, I guess for you it was probably just seconds ago, though for me it was several minutes. I even went to the bathroom in the meantime. It's not looking good because of this gentleman. He'll be able to knock me out in 4 swings. And so I have 4 turns to draw a Jace. Oh, he didn't attack. Why didn't he do that? Maybe he's afraid I'm gonna. I don't know why he didn't attack there. That could have been wrong to me because this doesn't have to be untapped to prevent me from attacking. I feel like he may have just. Oh, never mind. We just moved on to his turn. He didn't attack me because he can't attack during my turn, which makes sense. But we have 4 chances to draw this card, or this card. And that's what we're looking to do here. We have counter backup to defend. Oh, that Lotus Petal isn't that interesting for him, though it does. If I land a Magus, it can help him add mana of different color. Magus would be okay, just because it would keep him from being able to respond to my plays in the same way. But Sower is actually rough too, because if I take his creature, he can activate Oath. That would be okay though. He, in theory, wouldn't be able to attack me. So we have yeah, it's going to be 4 chances, maybe 3, to draw those cards that we're looking for. Yeah, it's going to be 3, because he only needs to swing 3 more times. So what's this going to be? Let's make sure we don't have our auto yields. Wow. So he's sacking that Lotus Petal to Tinker. Presumably this is a Blightsteel. I don't know what else it would be. I'm going to... We can actually only play one of these counter spells this turn. I'm going to hard cast Force. And hopefully he can't counter this, or I'll be in the deepest doo-doo imaginable. But we had to do that. Now we get to keep our mana drain. So let's draw one of those 3 cards. That's not one of them. I do think it's a good idea to drop this other land, though. Yeah. It's nice of Moto when I F4 to just go right through combat when I can't attack. So now we've got 2 draws to find a Jace and Into the Royal, or we're going to counter this. A Jace and Into the Royal, or a Sower of Temptation. It's not nothing. We have outs. That's just not one of them, though we will play it to thin out our deck a little bit. Yep. So let's make this last draw count. That I cannot do anything with. I could use it to kill Frost Titan, but our chance to Oath up Sower is gone now. So that's going to be GG. That game was kind of fun. I like when these games are almost like mini games. We're fighting over drawing against a Blazing Archon. I feel like I learned quite a bit that game. I'm wondering if Shackles needs to come in just as an alternative way to deal with that card. I don't think that that's right, probably. These cards don't really do anything for me, I don't think. I could bring in a Shackles. I don't think that that's right anyway. I think the best way to play around Blazing Archon is not to let him Oath it up. Or to keep safe one of my answers. We will be playing first. I am fine with this hand, actually. And if he's playing Wastelands, he's for sure playing a Strip Mine. So leading off with a Tarn might be right, but I don't think so because I would be okay if he stripped one of these islands. And also, I may want to use this with a Brainstorm in the next couple turns. Let's see what he finds. Black, huh? We really need to try and counter this Oath. We have to let him do this. The alternative would be to pitch 2 cards, which we don't want to do. He either takes Magus or he takes Force Will. And my suspicion is he takes Force. And if he does, that means he's in a situation where next turn he's probably going to be playing Oath or some other combo. Trinket Mage is decent against him too because I can find a Graph Digger's Cage. So if he takes that, it means he might be going for a slow Oath plan, or that he's nervous about that in the long term. Not entirely sure. Him getting the knowledge that I have a Magus in my hand is really good for him, though, because it means he might be able to find a basic here. And he took the Trinket Mage. We could draw a blue card, though, still, which means he thought that the Trinket Mage was the biggest problem he had to face. We're going to hide this, because that's an excellent card to draw. It's not going to do anything once a Magus of the Moon comes down, though. So I need to be very careful about when I play this in conjunction with the Magus. Because this only threatens for the time being. And he didn't do anything there, which is okay. And that's a blue card. So here's the question. Do I play that or do I keep it as a blue card? Or do I play the Magus this turn? I mean, this makes both of his lands bad, and he might counter it. So, like, what I kind of want to do, though, is get maximum value out of the Brainstorm, and I'm going to do that right now. Okay, that gave us a lot of options. We're going to pitch one of these islands. And, how good is the misstep right now? I think it's good enough to keep. So we want to put one of these cards back on top of our deck, right? We have to. What's it going to be? The Magus? Maybe. I'm not going to be playing this for a while. Because I'm fairly confident that I'm going to be going a different plan. I can decide whether or not I want to crack the Scalding Tarn later. I'm happy I made that play instead of running out the Magus that turn. I will be drawing the Magus. I'm willing to do that. So I'm going to crack this. For Yeah, Volk Island. Play the Caracas. And then I'm going to play the Trinket Mage. This lets me Red Blast back up. And we find a Grafdigger's Cage. And so the question is, do I run this out now and just back it up with Misstep or Force? Or do I wait till next turn? I think I wait until next turn. We can defend against the Thoughtseize with Misstep here. And this lets us counter something if he plays it this turn. Like a Jace or a Tinker. He could also Wasteland, that would be kind of unfortunate. And maybe it would mean that I should have found a Mountain with this, but I don't think so. We want to find another red source, so if we play the Magus, we can back it up, but I'm not urgently worried about that. And I think now that we have another Force of Will, we're in really good shape in that regard. So let's attack, first thing. Okay, good. We're going to try and drop this cage. And it landed. So the next play, I think, is dropping the Magus, because if this resolves, he can't do much. That's okay. Okay, so he's going to float some mana to Abrupt Decay, I think. No, he's going to... We are going to counter that. Okay. So we floated a green. This does look like Abrupt Decay to me. This would be an irony. Okay, so he kills the Magus here. That turns our Caracas back on at least. I was worried he was going to kill the Grafdiggers, play a Lotus Petal, and then basically our Caracas would be turned off by our own Magus, and he would play Oath through a Lotus Petal, and he would have killed the Grafdigger's Cage. The way it stands right now, we made a couple of dudes, and Skull Clamp helps with those, which I boarded out actually, and maybe that was a mistake. Like, here goes this. Caracas is going to die. No, not this turn. It means he's not ready, which is okay. He could be looking for like a Mental Misstep here, or another Abrupt Decay. It's probably another Abrupt Decay. I'm actually willing to have him do that, because I can counter, not the Abrupt Decay, but the Oath that he eventually plays. And you could have a hand with two Oaths in it. That's the problem. And so like maybe countering this would have been the right idea. But I definitely think he's looking for an Abrupt Decay here, which he'll do probably during our upkeep or during the end of our turn, so we can't attack with the Spirits. Yeah. So like I'm learning things here. I'll try to recapitulate these in the video at the end. But here are some things I've learned. Countering Demonic Tutor when it can look for an Abrupt Decay might be the right play in this matchup, especially when Grafdigger's Cage is so important. In addition, Skull Clamp does play a role here. Some things that are good are Skull Clamp, among other things. Some things that are bad are the Artifact plan against that deck, against Workshop right now. I still have to test against Affinity, though. But I wasn't impressed. Also, boarding in a ton of counterspells helps me be... It makes me less proactive, which I don't really like. And I wonder if I could play Faith Shield or something in a deck like that. No, I can't. That's white. Also, the Blazing Archon is something I have to think about. Not sure how I get through that in a lot of cases. And this is what I expected. And maybe some way of dealing with Abrupt Decay in the board might be more interesting than just having an anti-Oath plan. Even though this means I have a ton of Spirits out, my guess is that he's, excuse me, in something of a bad position right now. Hope he doesn't kill the Volkile. That would actually be much worse right now. Yeah, so we're gonna drain this for sure. and he's going to force it. And then we are going to red blast the force. And then I think we're probably in good shape to take this game home. Especially because we're going to be attacking down to 1. Even if he gets off a force at this point, it's not very good for him. And now he's misstepping, giving us another guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, so I guess I counted wrong. We're going to probably let this resolve. I think he's probably done here. I can't afford to let a Blazing Archon hit. So we need to empty our hand. If he'd wastelanded our volcanic island, we would have probably lost. He's down to 2 minutes on the clock. I'm glad that he didn't have to go out that way, as it were. Keeping this in my hand is probably better, but this creates a situation that I think puts me in a better position to win, probably. So, in other words, death by spirits. How embarrassing. Yeah, he had to make them all to kill the cage and stuff. I just said something contradictory. I was like, keeping the Magus in my hand is probably better, but playing it seems like it'll enhance my win. I don't know, playing it seemed right to mana screw him. He would have had to counter it, and now he can't do anything. So I guess playing this prevented him from being able to go Lotus, Petal, Tinker. I don't know what he would have found. I guess like his only out would be Vault Key, which he could cast anyway. Either way, I like playing with this guy, and I had fun with this matchup. And let's make sure we get in there with all the spirits. So thanks for watching. Come back for the next video where I talk about the deck and what I would do differently. What do we take home? Ooh.